All right. Traveling anywhere? Dimension door.
Whoa.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Why are you always surprised that I'm here? We live in the same apartment.
I thought you were sleeping. I had this all time so that you wouldn't notice the thing that didn't happen.
You made a big hole in the air and walked through it.
4th level Conjuration, casting time of 1 action, range of 500 feet, components verbal, duration instantaneous. You teleport yourself from your current location to any other spot within range. You arrive at exactly the spot desired. It can be a place you can see, one you can visualize, or one you can describe by stating distance and direction, such as 200 feet straight downward or upward to the northwest at a 45-degree angle 300 feet. You can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you can carry. You can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller who is carrying gear up to its carrying capacity. The creature must be within 5 feet of you when you cast a spell. If you would arrive in a place already occupied by an object or a creature, you and any creature traveling with you take 4d6 force damage and the spell fails to teleport you. You don't need to see. 500 feet is a pretty decent range for an instantaneous teleport. And 4th level is a little chunky, but not the worst. Just above 3rd, which you're likely going to be using for some big damage ones like Fireball or some other spells. And 5th is for things like Teleportation Circle and a bit more weighty prep spells. With 4th, I think Dimension Door fits well within it. Opponents are only verbal, which is great. Only an action to cast. This is a good getaway or jump into a situation. In fact, it's a place that you can see, which is great. You know, general stuff for teleport. One you can visualize, so you might have been there before, it's been described to you and within 500 feet, though this doesn't have the relevance or anchor table that a teleport spell has. Maybe home rule that? Okay, I'd judge, especially when it comes to the 46 damage they take, I'd kind of leave it on a rough gauge of, can they actually visualize the location? And then one that's just straight up marking the distance and the direction. The fact that it even goes down to angles, that is pretty ridiculous. Be very precise, like if you have a blueprint for something. Or at least know mapping very wise, like where it is. Luckily you don't get stuck anywhere, or juts you out in a random location halfway between the 2 points you're trying to teleport to. It just does damage and the spell fails. The big one is the fact that you can take an object and a creature with you, up to your carrying capacity, or the creature carrying up to its carrying capacity. And it has to be your size or smaller, so you know, if you're riding a mount, you can't take the mount with you. You can take party members of your equal size or a bit lower. I'd say probably size category. I'm not sure how specific you would get with this, whether it comes to like exact footage or not. I'd say just size category. The funny thing about the item is it doesn't necessarily state it needs to be right next to you, or that has to necessarily be your size category, just that it's under your carrying weight. Now, I'm definitely reading and rule it that it still has to be under your size category and next to you. But rules as written, you could have a big ol' like scaffold grid tied to a rope, and then you run through with the rope, and the whole grid is like torn through with you. But no, I'd rule that it still has to be right next to you and something smaller than you. Interesting thing though is larger creatures that can cast Dimension Door. Demons or giant kin that they're like large category, huge category, or gargantuan that have Dimension Door can actually take a ton with them. Something to think about. Maybe a giant taking an adult dragon or some other kind of monster with it through Dimension Door. It is only 500 feet, which to a creature of that size isn't as much for a small creature or medium, but still a teleporting giant and Behir being carried on its shoulders is an entertaining image. Action 500 feet, verbal only, which is nice, and instantaneous. The fact it also offers a sight you can see that you can visualize or you can give direct directions to is great. It's a spell slot I agree with. You can carry things with you and it makes relative sense. Maybe I might be just a bit generous. Part of me wants to give this a 10 out of 10 because it is just such a good like mid-range teleport spell. Really good. 500 feet is crazy. Being able to take another creature with you, being able to bring objects with you, instantaneous, just visualize a place you can see or a direction blindly. If it was 3rd level, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I think because it's 4th level, even though I agree with that spell slot, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Again, this is a spell that almost every party that can pick it up does. or finds the Cape of the Mountebank, because it's a good teleport.